Welcome to This Explainer. So today, we're diving into a truly fascinating contrast in the business world. On one hand, you've got arguably the absolute pinnacle of global brand power and marketing brilliance. That iconic red logo is etched into the collective consciousness of literally billions of people. But on the exact opposite side of that glossy image, you have the quiet, gritty, and just unbelievably complex reality of operational logistics. We're going to unpack what actually happens when the massive, almost unfathomable machinery of the Coca-Cola company hits severe operational friction on the ground.
It's kind of wild when you think about it, right? How can the absolute most recognized brand in the entire world still struggle with distribution? I want you to picture a really simple, everyday scenario. It's a brutally hot afternoon, and a customer walks into their local convenience store. They've got a specific, undeniable craving for a cold Coke. They make a beeline straight for the beverage fridge. They pull the handle, reach out, and it's just not there. There's just this empty space exactly where their expectation used to be.
The empty shelf. It's literally the ultimate retail failure. And what makes this moment so incredibly compelling from a business perspective is that when this happens with a titan like Coca-Cola, it is almost never because the company can't physically make the drink. They've got these massive, highly optimized factories running 24/7, just churning out millions of gallons of product. The production is rarely the bottleneck here. Instead, this specific failure is entirely about the physical product failing to reach the exact right place at the exact right time through the proper channel. To really wrap our heads around the overwhelming scale of this challenge, we've got to look at their mind-boggling daily footprint. Coca-Cola isn't just sold in the standard grocery store down your street. This stuff is constantly moving through massive supermarkets, frantic airport terminals, automated vending machines, corner convenience stores, sprawling sports stadiums packed with 50,000 screaming fans, luxury hotels, isolated rural markets miles from a highway, and densely packed urban retail chains. Trying to perfectly synchronize getting a physical product into all of those totally distinct environments all at the exact same time is basically a logistical mountain that never stops moving.
Because here's the thing, distribution is not simply transportation. It's absolutely not just throwing boxes on a truck and driving them from point A to point B. This massive network involves a deeply complex channel strategy, intricate inventory positioning, and hyper-localized forecasting, meaning they literally have to predict exactly how many bottles a specific neighborhood is going to drink on, say, a random Tuesday. It requires constant, relentless regional adaptation. And when all of those incredibly precise variables fall out of sync, well, even the most powerful brand on earth can lose its competitive edge.
Part 1. Defining distribution misalignment.
So what does this actually mean? Well, distribution strategy misalignment happens when a delivery network just no longer matches up with customer behavior, market demand, retail structures, geographic realities, or operational capabilities. For a company like Coke, the operational tightrope walk is trying to carefully balance global standardization, which is absolutely crucial for keeping overhead costs down, with the vast, unpredictable differences you find in local markets across the world. Because what turns out to be highly efficient in one country might just fail completely and really expensively in another.
Let's make this tangible with a direct comparison. Think about urban markets today. They lean heavily toward rapid convenience delivery and digital ordering systems. Just picture the sheer chaos of a tight urban delivery route, super fast turnover, basically zero backroom storage, and high-frequency purchasing. Now contrast that with rural markets. These areas usually require completely different setups, like navigating long, isolated supply routes, using much smaller distribution hubs, and heavily relying on independent mom-and-pop retailers. If a massive company tries to force a rigid, one-size-fits-all system across both that chaotic urban center and the isolated rural route, they completely lose the massive operational flexibility you need to survive in fast-moving consumer goods. Moving on to Part 2, the bottling coordination problem. You see, Coca-Cola relies on a pretty unique operational structure to handle this geographic spread. They actually operate through independent or semi-independent bottling partners in different regions. Now, this franchise model has some massive advantages. You get deep, localized market expertise, way faster regional scaling, and a significantly lower infrastructure burden for the parent company. But when we map out the friction, the downside becomes really obvious. You are suddenly dealing with intense coordination challenges across partners who might have totally different operational standards, vastly different IT systems, and widely varying logistics capabilities. There's a quote that hits the nail right on the head here. Imagine trying to run a global orchestra where every section follows slightly different timing. It's a brilliant metaphor, right? Even a fraction of a second off and the music just devolves into noise. In business, even tiny inconsistencies between these regional bottlers can cause massive disruptions. Imagine trying to perfectly coordinate a high-stakes, multi-million-dollar new product launch across 50 different markets at once, or trying to manage a sudden supply chain shock. When the instruments aren't tuned together, the whole performance just falls apart.
All right, part 3, adapting to consumer shifts.
We are right in the middle of this massive, unprecedented shift away from traditional retail. We're swapping out those big weekly supermarket trips for e-commerce. We're moving from large-scale bulk purchasing models to instant on-demand delivery. Consumers are trading high-frequency purchases of your standard sugary staples for a huge variety of health-conscious options, which deeply fractures the whole product lineup. This evolution is a tremendous operational risk for mature companies. Why? Because large, established, legacy distribution systems just naturally adapt way slower than the fast-paced markets they serve.
And to complicate the whole shebang, beverages are uniquely and intensely sensitive to wild swings in demand. Like, imagine a sudden, unexpected heat wave hits a major city. The scramble to restock becomes absolutely frantic as soft drink demand skyrockets in a matter of hours. Or think of a major sporting event going into double overtime on a Sunday night. Suddenly there's an immediate, localized panic as the corner store's fridge runs completely empty before the final whistle. Add in seasonal trends and retail promotions, and the math gets crazy. If your supply chain isn't reading these real-time signals fast enough, you are in deep trouble.
So it all comes down to this absolutely agonizing balancing act with inventory. If you mess up the forecast and have way too much stock, you get staggering waste, soaring storage costs, pallets of expired products, and a direct, painful hit to your profitability. But if you swing to the exact opposite end and have too little stock, you get the empty shelf. You instantly lose the sale, you severely frustrate your retail partners, and worst of all, your loyal customer reaches right past your empty slot to grab a competitor's drink instead. Extreme inefficiencies exist on both ends of the spectrum, and they are both incredibly costly.
Which brings us to part 4. The digital distribution transformation. Like a lot of massive corporate giants today, Coca-Cola is pouring a staggering amount of money into building this utopian digital system. We're talking deep data analytics, real-time inventory tracking so they know exactly what's sitting on a specific truck at any given second, advanced AI forecasting systems, complex algorithmic route optimization, and futuristic demand sensing tech. It sounds like the absolute perfect solution to eliminate all that friction. But the reality on the ground is a completely different story. Integrating these incredibly advanced tools across decades-old legacy systems and then trying to force them onto hundreds of semi-independent regional bottlers is just a monumental headache.
But here is the hard, unavoidable truth. Technology alone cannot fix strategic misalignment. You could have the absolute most advanced artificial intelligence in the world, but if the organization itself, its people, its processes, its financial incentives, and its operational goals aren't deeply aligned, those shiny new digital tools are really just going to help you make the exact same distribution mistakes, just much, much faster.
Let's bring this all together in part 5. 5 crucial business lessons.
Let's walk through these real quick because they're absolutely vital for any business trying to scale up. Number 1, strong brands cannot compensate for weak execution. If it isn't sitting on the shelf, the best logo in the world won't save the sale. Number 2, distribution strategy must evolve alongside consumer behavior. What worked brilliantly back in 2019 might be completely obsolete today. Number 3, global scale dramatically increases coordination complexity. Size is a powerful weapon for sure, but it's also a really heavy weight to drag around. Number 4, local flexibility is essential over rigid standardization. You have to adapt to the specific ground you are actually fighting on. And finally, number 5, supply chain is no longer just some boring back-office support function. It is a vital, strategic competitive advantage. Distribute faster and smarter, and you're going to win.
And finally, the ultimate question. When the dust settles, your customer doesn't care one bit about your beautifully crafted supply chain strategy documents. They don't care about your highly complex bottling network or your multi-million-dollar AI forecasting tools. At the exact moment of purchase, they judge your entire massive corporation on one incredibly simple, utterly ruthless reality. Was the product available when I wanted it? Master the answer to that specific question and you master the market. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning how the world